I don't think that most people realize just how important how we breathe is to our quality of life. And that includes our mental health, our physical health, and what we call performance. That is our ability to tap into skills, either physical or cognitive, in ways that we would not be able to otherwise if we are not breathing correctly.
Dr. Andrew Huberman knows the secrets that only 1% of the billions of people in this world know. It's how to breathe correctly. Now, you may be thinking to yourself, I've been breathing my entire life. What does this guy know? But do you know how Wim Hof breathes when he's leading people up mountains wearing nothing but shorts? Do you know how Matoush Molina breathes when he dives 127 meters deep on a single breath of air? Or how Tibetan yogis breathe when they dry soaking wet sheets in ice-cold caves with a Tummo breathing practice called inner fire? These are some of the stories that we cover on this channel. So if that interests you, please like and subscribe. It turns out there's some science that can help us figure out how some people can warm their bodies with the power of their mind, and some of us can't concentrate long enough on a YouTube video to learn a new skill. There's actually simple things that you can do right now that can make you smarter and healthier. Breathing through your nose is one of them. A lot of us get anxiety from breathing through our nose because of the extra resistance. It feels like we can't take as large of a breath that we need. We may even believe we have a deviated septum, and it might feel easier to breathe through our mouths. Contrary to what you believe, Dr. Huberman actually makes it pretty clear in this clip what we should believe.
Whenever possible, meaning unless you're speaking or eating or you're exercising or other activities require some change in your pattern of breathing, we should really all be striving to breathe through our nose, not through our mouth. Increased resistance through the nose allows you to inflate your lungs more, not less. The other thing that breathing through your nose allows you to do is it both warms and moisturizes the air that you bring into your lungs, which is more favorable for lung health than breathing through the mouth. Hard breathing through the mouth or simply mouth breathing at all is actually quite damaging, or can be, I should say, quite damaging to some of the respiratory functions of your lungs. That, of course, does not mean that you shouldn't breathe hard through your mouth when you're running or sprinting or exercising hard, but you don't want mouth breathing to be the chronic default pattern that you follow. Nasal breathing is the best pattern of breathing to follow as a default state. Another aspect of nasal breathing that's really beneficial is that the gas, nitric oxide, is actually created in the nasal passages. It's a gas that can cause relaxation of the smooth muscles that relate to the vasculature, not just of your nose, but of your brain and for all the tissues of your body. This is why nasal breathing and not mouth breathing is great for when you want to relieve congestion. So a lot of these things seem counterintuitive, right? Your nose is stuffed, so that mainly makes people breathe through their mouth, but it turns out that breathing through your nose will allow some dilation of the vasculature, more blood flow, dilation of the nasal passages, and delivery of nitric oxide to all the tissues of your body. And that dilation of the small capillaries that innervate essentially every organ of your body allow the delivery of more nutrients and the removal of carbon dioxide and other waste products from those tissues more readily than if you're not getting enough nitric oxide into your system. Okay, so a lot of reasons to be a nasal breather.
The physiological sigh is another breathwork hack that Dr. Huberman teaches. This one goes 2 inhales. So it's an initial large inhale in through the nose, followed by a second sharper inhale in through the nose, followed by a sigh of relief. This exercise makes you calm. And when you're calm, you're smarter and healthier.
The ability to calm yourself down most quickly by doing what's called a physiological sigh. 2 very deep inhales through the nose. So the first one is a long inhale. And then the second one after that is a quick, sharp inhale to maximally inflate your lungs, followed by a full exhale through the mouth to lungs completely empty. So it's big inhale through the nose, then short inhale through the nose immediately after that in order to maximally inflate the lungs, and then a long exhale through the mouth until your lungs are empty. That double inhale through the nose, followed by a long exhale through the mouth, works to reduce your levels of stress and lower your levels of so-called autonomic arousal very fast in real time, and it works better than any other known approach. It's not a hack. This is actually something that your body has specific neural circuits to do, and it actually performs during sleep on a regular basis and even throughout the day, and that you can perform voluntarily. And it works so well to reduce stress very quickly, not because it brings in the maximum amount of oxygen and removes the maximum amount of carbon dioxide, but rather because it optimally balances oxygen and carbon dioxide. If you understand the mechanical and chemical aspects of breathing, then you will understand exactly why that particular pattern of breathing, the so-called physiological sigh, is the most efficient way to rapidly reduce stress in real time.
So what's the best practice for getting the most out of breath work? How do we practice breath work for maximum results? I personally have been practicing various pranayama techniques over the past 3 years with my best friend, Danny. What's up? And one of our favorite methods for getting maximum results as fast as possible is the Wim Hof Method. Dr. Huberman calls this method cyclic hyperventilation. Let's listen to him break it down right here.
Cyclic hyperventilation, as you recall, is a bout of 25 or so breaths, inhaling deeply through the nose and then passively exhaling, or sometimes actively exhaling, typically through the mouth. So it might look like this. That's a very active inhale through the nose and exhale through the mouth. It can also be done active inhale through the nose, passive exhale through the mouth, like so. In any event, that pattern of breathing repeated for 10 to 25 breaths greatly increases levels of autonomic arousal. In fact, it's known to deploy adrenaline from the adrenals. So if you do cyclic hyperventilation, whether or not it's Wim Hof Method or whether or not it's Tummo Method, again, these things are similar. They're not exactly the same. There are other breathing methods that incorporate cyclic hyperventilation. What you're doing is you're getting rid of a lot of carbon dioxide, and therefore you're removing the impulse or lowering the impulse to breathe, so that when you enter that breath hold phase after the hyperventilation, it's a much longer period of time before you feel the anxiety and the hunger and the impulse to breathe. That's one of the real benefits of any technique that incorporates cyclic hyperventilation, is that rather than reduce your stress level in real time, it actually does the opposite. It increases your stress level, it increases your levels of autonomic arousal, but you're doing it deliberately. And then during those breath holds, what's happening is you have a lot of adrenaline circulating in your system because of the way that hyperventilation triggers the release of adrenaline from your adrenal glands. It also triggers the release of epinephrine, which is the same as adrenaline, from a little brain area called locus ceruleus, which makes you feel more alert. And then during those breath holds and in the subsequent rounds of cyclic hyperventilation, people experience what it is to have a lot of adrenaline in their system, but they are controlling the release of that adrenaline, which is far and away different than when life events are triggering that adrenaline. So what it really is a form of self-induced stress inoculation. And I do think there are benefits to practicing cyclic hyperventilation because it does allow you to learn how to self-deploy adrenaline and epinephrine from locus ceruleus and from the adrenals, or I got that backwards. Adrenaline from your adrenals and epinephrine from locus ceruleus. And it allows you to explore what it is to maintain calm state of mind and body when you have a lot of adrenaline in your system, which certain studies are starting to show can allow people to be able to lean into the stressful aspects of life. And let's be honest, life is stressful in any event. Now, we're all going to experience stress at some point or another. And when we do, we want to make sure that we're not overtaken by the release of adrenaline from the adrenals, that sudden surge of epinephrine from locus ceruleus. So doing cyclic hyperventilation, maybe 1 or 2 times per week, again, 25 breaths, active inhale, passive or active exhale. Do expect to feel tingly because of that reduction in carbon dioxide from exhaling so much. Do expect to feel a little bit agitated. Be very careful doing this if you're somebody who has anxiety attacks or somebody who has panic attacks or disorders of any kind. But if you don't and you want to explore this, you'll notice you start to feel really ramped up. And then during the breath holds, which again can be done by exhaling and stopping for some period of time, 15, maybe even 60 seconds, is a time in which you can explore how to remain mentally calm. Some people even choose to do math problems or think of things in a kind of structured way while they have a lot of these hormone neurotransmitters circulating at high levels in their system. In other words, as a way to learn to manage your mind and body under conditions of stress.
So far, we've covered a lot of information in this video, so I'm going to give us a quick recap. And then the very last thing that we're going to do is I'm going to share with you an unbelievable story of a doctor who traveled deep into the Himalayan mountains to study monks who could control their body temperature using only their breath. I'm going to link this video in just a minute. But before I do that, I want to invite you to join our Substack newsletter feed. Our newsletter delivers all of our content we publish across every platform in one place. It's always going to be free to subscribe unless you choose to support us as either a monthly member,
yearly member, or a founding member. The benefits of our paid subscription is you'll receive all of our content completely ad-free, so you won't have to listen to me give this spiel. 100% of that revenue goes right back into researching and publishing stories about people who do incredible feats, learning different practices, and sharing them directly with you. Our Substack newsletter is linked up in our comments, and it's also linked up in our bio, where you have the option to subscribe absolutely free. So just a quick recap before I share the story of monks controlling their body temperature using just their breath. Nasal breathing is the best way to breathe as our default breathing method. The physiological sigh is the best way to calm down in real time. And in our opinion, cyclic hyperventilation, followed by retention or breath holds, is the most effective practice for maximum results. This will help us remain cool and calm in our ever-increasing stressful world. Thanks so much for watching this video. You can also support us by hitting that like button and subscribing to our channel. We'd also love to hear your comments. To watch the story of Dr. Benson traveling to the Himalayas to study monks who control their body temperature using just their breath, you can click the screen right now. Thanks so much.